live.
Ooh.
Hello.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for coming through. What's been going on?
Oh. Let's see. Well, we had 2020. That was a nightmare. Yeah, it was an interesting year. Because we came off 2019, which was just like for us. Everything
such a big year. It
just
felt like such a
skyrocketed.
setback. 2020 was just like, oh, not only have I lost my job, I've also lost my passion for music and my ability to perform.
Yeah, it was interesting.
It seems like a common
Yeah.
theme
Oh yeah.
around that year.
I feel like for us, it felt really critical, and we were like, oh, we aren't able to do enough, we aren't able to expand enough. But then you look back on it, and every artist was in the same positions, but we were just so in our heads like, oh, we're not doing enough. How do we get ourselves out there in this situation? But everyone was in the same boat. So.
Yeah, and that's it. And I've spoken to a few people about how that sort of happened, and everyone's told me the exact same story. It's just they're feeling unmotivated, and they're feeling like they're
not as many resources and stuff.
not as
and
many
opportunities.
resources. Yeah, I feel like the I don't know what's the right word, connections or something. Like we had a good base, and it's sort of it's still there, but it's harder to reach out now. But I suppose
it's getting better.
Yeah, totally. I suppose the best thing that came out of it was that
kind of reflect. Good time to reflect.
And we had that lockdown for, what was it, 2 months?
Oh, longer than that.
3 months.
Yeah, 3 or 4 months.
Yeah, it was like a blur.
We did not leave the house from like April until September.
Fuck.
I think. Yeah.
But I just sat myself down in front of that computer and I just wrote and wrote and wrote. And that's good, because now we just have, rather than having to like write a song, release it, we got this big back catalogue of maybe 4 or 5 songs.
Getting there, yeah.
I mean, some of them there's still a lot of work to do. I mean, we're not saying that.
We weren't the
Product
most
album
productive.
about to drop.
No.
Oh, no, definitely not.
No Neko
I think
album.
albums are dead, at least for pop music.
Oh, yeah.
Albums are a dying breed, I think.
No,
Unless
sure.
it's like a fully conceptual album, or you're the kind of artist that you've got so many ideas that you need to kind of bring them all together at once, so people are not like, their new shit sucks.
Yeah.
Whereas they can listen to the album and be like, okay, they're kind of trying new things. Like, it's a vibe, but yeah.
So that's not a focus at all for you guys.
Oh, maybe an
I
EP.
don't think so. Yeah, I mean, I've definitely had the idea of doing another EP, but yeah, I mean, when it comes down to it, we think like...
Who wants to sit through an hour of pop music?
I mean, it seems like a waste of content.
Exactly. You can just drip feed it.
Yeah, because
Why condense it?
people consume so quickly. That's why, and that's why albums are dead now, because of how easily music...
Social media has killed our
Social
attention
media
span.
and how easy it is to stream music now. You don't have to go and buy a CD.
Oh, God.
You can just get up your phone and listen to whatever you want for $11 a month, you know? It's simplicity itself. So albums just don't work. But
Definitely for certain like types of musicians, definitely I think it's still...
I mean, rock and roll, you know, and metal music especially.
Yeah, I was about to say like metal and like hardcore definitely are coming out with albums
Like
still, and that's...
I don't know many
Imagine
metal
like
bands.
a metal band just dropping an EP. Like a split, I would understand, but an EP, you'd be like,
Think
come
about
on.
it. Yeah, think about a band like Slipknot releasing an EP, like a 4-track. People are like, what the fuck is this?
People are just like, yes.
I've waited 10 years.
Yes, more
I mean, they
Slipknot
just
music.
released one, but you know, say they released one in 5 years. I've waited 5 years for 4 songs. People would just be.
That's like our fans. They're like, we're waiting, and we
Yeah.
just drop like a single, like once in a blue
Here you go.
moon.
There
Here you
are.
go.
But yeah, we got a lot of songs. They're coming. But the problem is, I mean, it's not a problem, but it's like we've got 2020
mindset, I think.
No, yeah. What's the word? Like Vietnam flashbacks.
PTSD.
PTSD. We got.
Are you equating a year to a psychological disorder?
Certainly not. But it's similar. You know, I feel like after such a long dry season, it's hard to get back.
It's hard to like push yourself back into the moment, and especially when at the beginning of the year. Well, January 22nd, like only a few weeks ago, we were meant to have the Touch Sensitive gig. And we thought, fuck yeah, like this will really push us back into, you know, getting back into the groove of things. And then that got postponed because COVID just did not let up.
I think he's from Sydney. I think. Don't quote me on that. But I'm pretty sure he's from that general area. So I mean, fair enough. We don't, you know, I'm happy that it got pushed back so we can keep everyone happy and safe. But I'm glad it's happening. That's the 13th of March.
13th of March.
And it was
which isn't that much of a pushback, but gives us more time to reinvent the live set, I think, after not playing live for so long. I mean, there were a few gigs here and there, but definitely out of touch. I mean, I picked smoking back up, so I should probably quit that for this year. Get the vocal cords back up and running.
That was terrible. 2020 was just thousands of dollars worth of pouches. And now we're smoking vapes. I mean, like...
Don't expose us, dude.
There's no...
Me, Mom, like, blowing smoke into the mic.
I mean, there's no good or bad, but, I mean, this is better, right?
Yeah, like, we've got cigarettes, so...
But that gig was originally meant to be...
Last year?
No. It was originally meant to be at Fiction. But I think Fiction's rules are still a bit iffy. I mean, I haven't been out to a club all year. 6 months.
You're a liar. You've definitely been.
No, I have, but I haven't been to Fiction because I'm not paying $15 to go and do a fucking Fiction.
Yeah, no offense.
But I think their rules are still iffy or something. But I remember they were gonna have consistent gigs there. The promoter, I can't remember.
Well,
his
this
name.
gig was gonna be like a Friday night and then a Saturday night, like 2 gigs. I think because of the rules, because of the restrictions, they were gonna have like a max amount of tickets for one night, but still wanted everyone to be able to come, so split it up so that with social distancing and stuff, which is fair enough. But I don't think that's happening now. I think maybe Canberra has more capacity.
Canberra's, I mean, I don't know what UC is doing with the Refec and the hub, but Canberra's like the big room now, you know, where all the bands come through. And yours and ours are doing it as well, which is great. And you know, I mean, Fiction is good if you're a DJ, but
yeah, it's definitely more of like a club.
Yeah, I don't think it attracts the right sort of crowd anyway. For
us, our music anyway.
Well,
yeah. But yeah, I mean, other than that, we've been doing all right. We're getting ourselves back on track.
Yeah, it's good.
I guess
we got a lot in the work. I mean, it's so classic, but we got a couple things coming, but we're not allowed to talk about them.
What's that fucking that Instagram page, band memes 666? It's too relatable, and it's just like local band nobody knows posts big things coming soon or whatever. Every time we do a drop, big things coming soon.
Well, it's the only way.
Classic.
That's why I hate social media. Like, it's just you gotta to become a successful musician in 2020, 2021. You've got to sell yourself, and I mean, I say that you got to sell your
how much for your arms?
Appearance.
No, how much for them?
40,000.
Oh, fuck.
For the left.
For the left. Oh god.
That's a pretty good deal.
Yeah. It's a good arm.
Can we pull up pricing for black market limbs?
Yeah, we can.
Just abusing our powers here.
Yeah, but you gotta you gotta constantly remind people this is who we are.
So the marketing thing about like cold and warm selling or that kind of thing.
Like that.
It's kind of like you got to really hone in on what your demographic is.
And I suppose that's why it's so important to create an image for yourself that you respect and you really like.
And like that attracts like-minded people that are going to enjoy
Yeah.
your.
And so it's not a chore to have to project who you are onto the people that consume your music, the listeners.
Definitely.
So when when it's passionless, your image, your projection, it becomes like a job, and it's just.
I mean, there's a lot of big artists that have like a very specific image, and then I feel like every artist that has like a real boxed in kind of image just has like this real breakthrough, like I'm reinventing myself, like Marina and the Diamonds dropping the diamonds, and becoming a little bit more like house pop, rather than her old, character, I guess.
Totally.
But I might have boxed myself in a little bit. I feel bad buying clothes that aren't pink because I'm like, if I can't wear this on stage, why am I buying it?
Well,
can I claim this on my taxes? I need to do my taxes this year and see how much I can claim.
We could though, right?
It's a uniform.
This is a legitimate business.
I mean, we don't pay our taxes yet, so I don't know how legitimate this business is, but I mean, yeah.
That's true.
We'll have to get Neko Pink embroidered on everything, so it's like actually uniform. It'd be kind of sick.
I think the tax file number we use for our invoices,
we're using my ABN because I used to.
Yeah, that was what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
I think it's still your ABN.
But it's still back when I did makeup, so it's still under like creative.
It's under the threshold.
It's under the threshold.
I mean,
yeah.
God,
why are we talking about taxes this early?
We don't want to get in trouble here.
But yeah. So.
But yeah, I think you can claim it as like costumes.
Yeah, I was actually doing a little bit of research the other day because I was like.
Laundry expenses.
Yeah, exactly. But
Or we could just sell some limbs for you.
Oh, no kidding.
Oh, you've gotten it up. I don't think your arms would be worth as much as you might think.
Well, I mean, organs would be the real money.
This might actually be like
eggs.
Yeah, look, it has tempted me.
I'm surprised at how cheap some of this is.
Yeah, right.
$200,000 for a kidney? I've got two, bro. Take it. Do you know what I could do with $200,000?
The marketing money. Ugh.
Well, man, I could do some stuff. I could never drink again, though. I think that's the.
I don't think you'd die within like a year or two, dude, if you sold a kidney. But yeah, I have looked into selling a few organs. Would you donate an organ to me if I needed it, like a kidney or a liver?
Depending on how much you left me in your will, of course. It would have to be substantial.
You'd probably give me like the bung kidney, just so I die, so you can get that money
reimbursed. Well, I have to figure out which one's which first.
We need some nurses on this live stream. We need some anatomy lessons.
If you're in the chat, call in, and we'll get some
can we
deets.
answer calls?
Totally, yeah. One thing I wanted to talk about, Af, is what your opinion on the future of pop music. I keep fucking with my beard. I mean, like, I was listening to, what was it? I think it was Triple J, I don't know. And I've noticed that...
Surprise.
Fuck off. Pop music is becoming more dance music, and dance music is becoming more underground.
Okay. Can you expand on that idea?
Lady Gaga
definitely.
and Dua Lipa both released albums. I think they both released their albums last year.
Yeah.
And they're dance albums, especially Lady Gaga's album Chromatica. That's a house album.
That's a bop.
It's an incredible album. I absolutely adored it. And
didn't pick you as a Gaga stan until the album dropped. I remember like listening to Rain on Me when it first dropped, like the day it came out, because it came up on my Spotify thing, and I was listening to it and I was like, this is the kind of music Gus would like. And I remember showing you being like, I wonder what he's gonna think. Like, did I get this wrong? And you were like, fuck, this song is sick.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I think it's going in that direction. I mean, I'm saying that as a hopeful individual who makes music, dance music. But that being said, I mean,
I think pop music is expanding a lot. I mean, I think also it's expanding a lot because 10 years ago it was purely through labels. And, you know, these artists that were label made rather than homemade, I guess. So I feel like a lot of individuality and creativeness is coming through in pop music, and you're able to get a hit song overnight. Like, not everyone, but, you know, certain things with algorithms are popping up. So I feel like it's not necessarily that it's a mental change of the people pushing the forefronts of pop. I think it's more people are being pushed to the forefront that have more, like, a better background, you know, difference.
And there's so many factors. There's that you can do absolutely everything at home now. Whereas let's say 2010, even further back, 2007, 6, like artists like, you know, Rihanna and Timbaland and Justin Timberlake. Like just Justin Timberlake was in sync, so he obviously got started early, but
there's some good songs. Sometimes I hear a song and I find out it's by Justin Timberlake, and I'm like, really?
Oh, he's got some bops.
Yeah.
And especially inclusivity. Am I saying that right? Inclusivity. Yeah,
little white man.
It's so
be woke.
We live in such an inclusive world now. It's just you can be whatever you want.
I mean, even with rap music taking over in the last 4 or 5 years.
Oh, totally.
Like,
rap is the most popular genre of music in the world, and it has been for...
Yeah, since like 2016, I think. 2015, I remember. Because I remember listening in college back in like 2014, 2015, listening to a lot of rap music and a lot of trap music. And, you know, going to parties and playing it and people being like, what the fuck is this, you know? And just kind of seeing it take over the mainstream was kind of cool as a rap fan, I think, because there's so much talent in rap music, even songs and artists that people don't necessarily think are talented. They're like, oh, they use too much autotune. But it's like, I feel like now, because there's so much, almost an oversaturation of the industry with rap music, is that I feel like a lot of artists are coming forward with all these ideas and using a lot of like early 2000s tropes with like, you know, like T-Pain sort of auto-tune and mumble rap and all that kind of thing, which initially was like, oh, mumble rap, they're not talented. But I think because there's so much, people are like, it's stylistic. I feel like people are recognizing that that's on purpose, and it's an expression. It's a way to play with your sound, I guess, because I think there's nothing wrong with using auto-tune. There's nothing wrong with, you know, mumbling stuff, because it's still creating like a unique sound you know, 10 years ago wasn't really
And that's exactly, relevant. I remember watching an interview with T-Pain. I don't know why it was.
He's actually a really fucking good singer. That's crazy.
Oh, he's incredible. Have you seen his Tiny Desk
I was literally
thing?
About to mention his NPR.
Man. Yeah, he's incredible. Yeah, I remember him saying, someone asked, why did you decide to have such an auto-tuned voice? And he says, because no one else was doing it. Everyone else sounded the same. If I came out with just a voice that sounded like it does without the auto-tune, no one would have paid attention. But people did, because it was different. Because it was...
I think maybe like T-Pain in that era knew that he kind of could fall back on the fact that he was actually a good singer, and the mainstream people that were listening to, you know, like his main songs didn't even necessarily have to know that, because if they said, oh, he can't sing, he uses autotune, like he can.
Yeah.
Yeah. Turn that shit up. He does like an acoustic rendition of what's the song?
Oh, I know like 2 of his songs. I know this one.
You know, okay, I could be wrong, but I swear I remember T-Pain played a gig at Academy in Canberra, like
Is that right?
2016. I swear it was T-Pain. It was another artist that was really similar, and I was like, coming to Canberra, what the fuck? But I mean, like, there's actually, what about when like Kelly 47 played like a year ago?
Yeah, right.
And just played at Fiction. Like, I mean, she was here for, was it Groovin' or Spilled at the...
Was it Fiction a year ago? Or was it Academy?
No, it was Fiction. It was definitely Fiction.
Right.
Yeah, that was sick. it's kind of cool to see these big overseas artists playing in Canberra, because I feel like that's not something that happens very often.
No,
So
that's
when
a
they
shame.
do that, it's, you know, it's a real standout kind of thing. I mean, not that we don't have amazing, talented, super cool artists that tour here every year or two outside of COVID time. But yeah, I remember like Kelly 47. I'd been a fan of her music for years. And just seeing her live, you never really think, oh, I'm going to see them live in like such a stripped back, small environment.
No, yeah.
It's quite cool. Can we research if it was T-Pain?
Yeah.
It might have
was.
been
I think
who was it?
Sean Kingston came to Canberra too.
Really?
Kingston, really?
You're way too beautiful. I remember.
A lot of those guys came
Yeah.
at kind of the back end of their career.
Yeah. Yeah,
no kidding.
definitely.
I remember, oh man, I feel bad for this, but I remember when I saw that tour that Sean Kingston was doing, yeah, it was a few years ago. It was maybe 2016. I remember saying, "Oh man, this poor bloke! Look, he's touring in Canberra.
Touring fucking.
He's touring in
Canberra,
Wollongong."
yeah.
I was like, "Oh, this poor fella." But then a mate of mine.
That's a way to grow your audience.
Oh,
so you
totally.
know, hit places that you might not know if you've got reach in, and then you would probably get a big turnout.
No, yeah.
But
2017.
2017, yeah.
Yeah, right.
I remember when that happened, and I really wanted to go, but I had work that day because I have this such distinct memory. So people might not know this, but I grew up very religious. Like my parents were so strict, and I remember driving to church one morning when I was like 11, and I had this shitty Nokia phone, didn't have any data, didn't have anything, but my friend had Bluetoothed Beautiful Girls, the one where he talks about you make me want to commit suicide, like the undoxed version. And I remember listening to that really quiet in the backseat on the way to church because my parents would kill me if they found out I was listening to like devil music.
Oh yeah.
And then when I saw he was touring, I was like, fuck yeah, I just want to see that live. Just like reminisce when I was like 10 or 11. But yeah, that's a good song.
Yeah, I remember seeing that and being apprehensive about it, thinking, man, this guy's he's in the dregs, you know. But I have a mate, aka Louis, and he told me, oh nah man, I respect the hustle. And I was like, yeah, you're right. Like he's still going, you know, and like you can look at it as he's scraping pennies and he's just this is his only income. He's trying to keep doing it, but I mean, ultimately he became a musician because that's what he loves, and he's still doing it. And you know, you got to respect that, especially with some of these older artists who might not necessarily be as successful as they were in their bubble, but they're still pushing and they're still doing it.
Still creating new music.
Because, I mean, ultimately they love it. And sure, it may be their income. It may be the only thing they can to make money, despite their massive stream revenues.
Imagine seeing like T-Pain just like working at Audi checkout, just like doesn't give a fuck if you've got a bag, just like psh, psh, just like swinging your groceries your way. I mean, it'd be a bad way to end up.
Oh, yeah.
And you guys have been hustling. I read in an article that back in some of your early tunes, you were actually working sort of like 13-hour days, going home, the day job, going home, and then
Where did
finishing
you read
tracks.
That would have been when we were doing our EP.
Yeah. So, funny you mentioned that. I don't even remember that. But basically, when we were writing No Thorns, I had just recently moved back in with my mum, who was living in Goulburn at the time. So, I mean, I grew up in Canberra and all my friends and everything was in Canberra. And so I was working in Goulburn, but I was coming down to Canberra every other day. And we were in the middle of writing No Thorns. I think Gus sent me the track like I think it was like a Sunday. And the next Sunday was the end of the Groove in the Mood competition, and like we'd only released one song at that point, and we didn't know anything about the industry. And we were like, we're gonna get Groove in the Mood, like we've got to finish this fucking track.
It's
and
because
so,
and it's also because it charted on Unearthed so high. It did so well, so we were like,
Black Mountain Drive, yeah.
No.
I'm talking about when I was writing No Thorns.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, so I remember Gus sent me, I still really do love this song.
Oh yeah, I'd like to redo it.
Yeah, we really want to remix it and just
There's just no time for it, you know.
yeah. Don't want to be stuck in the past, but it is a good song.
It's great.
But yeah, at the time I was just working as a super at Zambies and working fuckloads of shifts. And I brought my laptop to work and I was working like 13, 14-hour days. So I'd get 2 half-an-hour shifts. And I remember every shift for like 3 days, I would just take my laptop, write, and then that night, write until 3 a.m. and literally wrote the song within 3 days.
Yeah.
Stayed up till like 3 a.m. the night before we were meant to record the song that I'd just written, and then worked like a fucking 10-hour shift and got a train to Canberra. And then the next day we started recording it because I was just like, we need to get this out. Like, you know, like while that energy was still there, I've got a good song. It needs to be up and needs to be out into the world, which now that we're a bit older and wiser, that's not always the best decision because you rush the mixing process. I mean, I literally went to Canberra the night after writing that song. The next morning at like 9 a.m. went to the Better Music in Phillip, bought an $800 mic.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that day.
We didn't have anything.
I was still living
record.
in Dunlop then.
Yeah, we had like this shitty mic at that point, and I was like, just gotten paid after all these fat shifts I was doing, and was like, okay, I need to buy a mic, I need to buy a stand, like everything. And then that night we just recorded it in like a shitty little small spare bedroom, and I think we finished it Friday night, and then Saturday we spent the whole day getting it mixed and then uploaded it that night before the Sunday competition cutoff was.
That's right.
We didn't get Groove in the Mood, but
there was like a 2-hour period before the competition ended. We just put the song up.
Yeah.
And because they say in the thing, it doesn't matter if you do it just before the timeline. We review all the songs.
We will listen to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was
Moaning Lisa ended up winning. Which was cool because they ended up just skyrocketing. So I'm glad they won because they ended up doing incredible things.
Yeah. Our first ever gig was with them. I remember the vibe of playing our first ever gig and it being Moaning Lisa, and they were kind of just on that barrier of breaking through, but there was a big hype surrounding them.
Filled the Phoenix bar.
Yeah.
It was absolutely wall to wall.
Phoenix was around. But I remember not really, like, when I first started Neko Pink, I did not really listen to Australian music. Like, I was purely a rap head.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
Didn't know anything about the scene. Didn't really know who Moaning Lisa were. And I remember just being like, okay, well, this is my moment. This is my first show. I'm going to fucking give it what I've got. And I remember just a lot of people in the crowd being like, who the fuck are these cunts? Like, and being like impressed with our show and who we were, considering it was just our first gig. But I remember like someone coming up to me being like, is this your first gig? And I was like, yeah. And they were like, how did you play with Moaning Lisa? And at the time I was like, I don't give a fuck. Like, they're just a Canberra band. Because I didn't know shit. But then I think it was like a month later they got the Groove in the Mood spot and they started blowing up, and I was like, oh shit.
And then a year after that they got fucking Splendor in the Grass.
Yeah.
I don't know if that gig ended up going forward though. Oh no, it would have.
It would have. That was before COVID. But yeah.
Yeah. And I remember seeing that and just going, oh my god, that's incredible. Canberra band that we played our first gig with is now playing
all these big festivals that
it's incredible.
We were wanting to do back when we were starry-eyed and naive.
Do you remember the day that we recorded the vocals for Loner in my bedroom at Mum's?
It was so hot. I was literally in like my bra and undies, sweating profusely because we couldn't have... Gus's spare room at his mum's house is tiny.
Well,
smaller than this.
It was Mum's spare room. It was my room. It was about half as big as this room.
Half as big as this. Carpet, no ventilation... And we couldn't have the fan on because if it would come up in the recording.
It would come up in the recording, yeah.
So we just sweated our asses off, just doing numerous takes and layers and harmonies. And it was like the first time I'd done numerous layers, numerous harmonies in a track, because I think we'd kind of gotten to a spot where we were putting a little bit more effort into our music.
Yeah, we realized what
the potential
we learned more about what
we
needed to do, and so we started doing it.
But yeah, that was such a I don't want to say shit day because I think it was like a really pivotal moment for us. Just hustling in like literally 40-degree heat with no fan in the stuffiest room in all of Canberra.
Yeah, that was interesting.
But yeah,
And what was your sort of unearthed experience? Because you mentioned earlier that the song kind of blew up. Not that one, the Black.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the first one.
What was that like? And what do you think about Unearthed now?
Oh, well.
Going through that and that kind of rise.
Well, I remember initially our first Black Mountain Drive, No Thorns, and Black Mountain Drive alone. Yeah, everyone thinks No Thorns is our second song. I mean, no, I don't think anyone thinks that, but I think that.
We don't count Alone.
But we had this other song in between called Alone, and it was so shit. I mean,
Kojo did the mixing on that one, and the mixing was beautiful. That was the first time we got someone else on board
Yeah,
to do mixing.
yeah.
So Black Mountain Drive, the situation with that was
we had my buddy Callum record the
and mix it
vocals,
in a
mix and
day.
everything.
In like a day or two.
$50 cash. I don't know if I ended up paying him.
Callum, if you're watching this, we owe you.
I feel really bad
once we
about
blow
that.
up.
And the tax man too.
Yeah, the tax
You're
man.
just racking up bills here. Too.
Oh god, guys, you're gonna get a job. But yeah, I remember Black Mountain Drive. Like I was saying, I did not know anything about the Australian music industry and didn't really know what Unearthed was.
We just knew that if you put your song on Triple J Unearthed,
you knew that.
it might get played on Triple J.
Yeah.
So, and we didn't even know how to put music on Spotify. I mean, Spotify was young then. I mean, it wasn't young, but it was still.
It was a new concept.
I
to
didn't
us.
know. I mean, I didn't even use it.
But I mean, I think with Black Mountain Drive, at that point, this was just like a bit of fun, just writing a song, which is why we, just did a shitty recording.
Totally,
like
yeah,
a
it was
really basic mix and then just uploaded it. I didn't really expect anything to happen. We kind of shared it on our socials. I remember one of my old friends, Chris, we went and picked you up and just went in the park right next to my dad's house in Everett and just took terrible photos just
That was our first ever photo
on
shoot.
my phone, just so we had a photo to
I was
put
wearing
out.
this terrible red sweater and with like these like Tom Cruise sunnies. And it wasn't even that long ago. Was it 3 years ago?
Yeah.
Have we been a band for 3 years?
Yeah.
Because we always miss our anniversary.
Yeah, we always forget. But yeah, so we just kind of like threw everything together, not really expecting much except friends and family to kind of listen to it. And then I remember we put it up on like a Thursday or a Friday, and then Sunday they do the charts. And the Monday after they'd done the charts, we were like, number 3 on the overall charts, or number 4 on the overall charts, and number 1 on the pop charts. And we had over 1,000 streams
Was
within
it
a
number
few
one on
days.
the pop charts or the indie charts?
Pop charts.
No, it was the pop charts.
Yeah, and we were just like, what?
Because it's a good song, mind you. It's a great
dude.
song, but the recording is just.
Can we play the Black Mountain demo? Just listen to the synths, just how pitchy they are in the beginning. You're going to have to look up. It is on YouTube.
No.
It's on SoundCloud.
It's on SoundCloud.
I think it's on YouTube still. Because it's got the old background of that photo in Japan, when you went to Japan that you took and you just edited it.
The photo is a picture of a. It's like
a rooftop.
It's like got a flag and a cross.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, look, this is it. Yeah.
Yeah. Very poorly mixed. No offense, Carl.
Look, it's
And
got
my
1,500 plays. That's pretty good.
Yeah, for our first
For
demo.
SoundCloud.
My vocals were fucking dog shit.
Man, your vocals like have changed so much. It's weird that.
I've matured. I couldn't even fucking breathe back then.
Yeah.
I was smoking
there's some-
Rothman. I was smoking like a pack of Rothman Reds a day. Like,
Yeah, there's something with your breathing sounds off.
So this is a different version to the Spotify one.
Yeah, so we ended up remastering it when we released our EP.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think we thought about not doing it
Yeah, because it was a bit like an old song, but I mean, the end of that year. So we uploaded it, I think, end of
November 2017.
Yeah, November 2017, like right at the end of November, and Claire Mooney at the end of the year for 2017, who's like a Triple J Unearthed and Triple J like song curator. We were like number 3 in her top 10 songs of the year. And so we were like, what the fuck? Like, this shitty demo is your top 10 songs of the year. So we were like, okay, obviously this song has more potential. And so we spent a little bit more time on it. We re-recorded the vocals, we re-recorded the track and got it mixed like over a span of a couple days, so that it had a bit more liveliness to it.
And we redid all the vocals too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One side quit smoking.
Probably done in my
initially.
bedroom as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, after that incident in my bedroom at Mum's with the 35-degree day recording Loner, that was like,
we were like, no, never again.
No,
we're
not doing this again. So now we record all our vocals with 2410.
Yeah.
Dean and Julie Vay. They're these incredibly lovely people. They don't live in that house in Campbell anymore, though.
Oh, really? Did they?
Yeah, they moved somewhere.
Oh, okay. But yeah,
But I'm pretty sure they're still they've reset up their studio or something. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, we played. What was it? It was like that gig at near Sancho's. Sancho's is
Sancho's.
Weekend at Palco's. Yeah. We played that gig and they just watched our set and they were like, we really like what you guys are doing. Do you want to come record for free? And we were like, yes, we're broke. So
yeah, and I still can't believe it because they still record us for free.
Yeah.
It's still no questions asked, and I leave there every time thinking, man, I've just robbed these people. I've just left with this gold mine, and I've had comments in the before saying, how do you guys get your vocals to sound so crisp? How do you get them to sound
We use an
so nice?
SM7B, which
SM7B.
I would not be able to afford.
This is the new version.
Yeah, a little bit more compressed. I can actually breathe in this take.
Funny little factoid. All of the guitar in both versions, because the guitar in this version is the same as the demo. Because I don't know, we reused the guitar track. I recorded that on a guitar that only had 5 strings, and it wasn't even mine. It was Tom's guitar, who was our guitarist.
Shout out, Tommy.
Who's our guitarist at the time.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I had this shitty guitar plugged into my like $40 Behringer interface into my now ex-girlfriend's crappy MacBook in garage.
MacBook Air
in GarageBand.
In GarageBand, yep.
Yeah,
We're humble. We remember
humble
our
beginnings, and it still did so well, and I still respect that because it was well and truly DIY. DIY. No, that's later.
Yeah, that was later.
That's in a couple hours.
Another interesting like factoid in the remixed updated version of Black Mountain Drive, in the vocal recording where I say "ha." That's kind of like become a big staple in our music of like my little flair.
We reuse it.
We reuse it in every single song. So every single song where you hear me say "huh," it's the exact same text, and we pitch it up. Yeah. We put reverb on it. We make it fit to whatever song needs it. And initially with I think it was with you, we were gonna re-record it. But I thought, no, it was with Loop, I think. I was like, this part needs a "huh." And I didn't want to go back into the studio to record just that. And so I was like, Kojo, can you just put the one from Black Mountain Drive into Loop? And we were like, yeah, cool. This sounds good. And then every song after that, I was like, yeah, we're gonna keep consistent with this because it's just like a cool little throwback.
No, totally. Yeah, going back to Canberra. What do you think the future is? I mean, I myself, I've been wanting to start like a I don't know what to call it, a co-op,
collective.
Which I get every pop and electronic band in Canberra, and I'm excluding DJs from this. I'm sorry, DJs, I love your work, but purely people that write their own original electronic and pop music in Canberra. I want to bring them all together because it's just Canberra's so dry with that, you know. And I feel like there's a lot of people in there that are making that kind of music, but they're not.
There's not enough of a foundation to work off in Canberra. I think.
No, exactly.
I mean, Canberra does have a really good scene, but the scene is definitely more focused to indie, surf, rock kind of vibes.
Totally, which is great.
Which is cool, and that's definitely like kind of at the forefront of Australian music. Like when you think of Australian music, it's artists like Cordiale and Doonrads and Skeggs and
rock and roll, you know,
Fingers
and Australia's always been a rock and roll country, you know, from the beginning to the end. It's going to be a rock and roll country, and that's just how it is. But that being said, I mean, we some of the most successful electronic artists in the world have come out of Australia.
Yeah.
Like Empire of the Sun.
Empire of the Sun, yes, big one.
Flume.
Yeah, hey.
Fuck, that always gets me. Yeah. Flume's Australian, and he's huge. He's worked with Taylor Swift.
Really?
I don't think they have a song together, but he's written songs for Taylor Swift. Oh God, I can't think off the top of my head, but yeah, like the foundation that we have within Australia is just huge.
Electronic music that is like Pinau. I mean, also Nick Littlemore from Empire of the Sun.
Yeah.
But you know, all these artists that are coming from Australia, and I feel like. Also, a lot of the time, I remember being in like this shit posting group on Facebook years and years ago, and some person was an Australian artist, and you know, just some underground Australian artist, and kind of realized that a lot of people overseas are listening to Australian music without even realizing it was Australian music, and I think that's a big thing that Australian artists kind of put forth is that they're kind of breaking through without even people being aware of them being Australian. Like I think, for example, like I think the biggest Australian artist that broke through in the recent 10 years was like Iggy Azalea, and that was like her whole thing. She's like this Australian white female rapper. But it's so much...
Dude, she's from Mullumbimby. Do you know where that is?
In the Northern Rivers.
It's in the Northern Rivers. Oh, it's like north Northern Rivers. Yeah.
Yeah. That's so strange.
Isn't that crazy? It's like one of the most hippie towns I've ever been to. It's incredible.
Yeah. But I think that was kind of like a lot of people being like, oh, look, this is what Australia is. But it's so much more than that. I think there's so many artists that kind of slip through the cracks into the mainstream that people don't even know that they're Australian, and it's not really like a driving force. Whereas I think a big thing about Iggy Azalea, for example, when she became really big was like, it was so polarizing, like, oh, this white girl from Australia, of all places, is making rap music, trying to act hard. But, I think it's definitely...
What's the story? She made all this money when she was, like, 17 or 16.
16, 17, went to, like, LA
Went to LA, just...
Became a stripper.
One flight, just earned all this.
Got a one-way ticket and just... hustled, which, like, I mean, say what you want about Iggy Azalea as an artist, as a person, but, like, you kind of have to respect the hustle and the fact that she did get so big. I mean, part of it is probably because she is super marketable, because she was this pretty skinny, palatable white woman doing pop rap rather than, you know, like, root rap. But, she definitely did hustle, you know. I think there's a lot of artists out there that aren't necessarily hustling to make their way. A lot of industry plants, but
a lot of people who have daddies with a lot of money. Yeah.
Oh God, I wish.
I mean, like, you know, you can say that, but I mean, if we were in that position, if my mum didn't make less money than me, then fuck. I mean. It'd be hard not to. But I mean, that being said, it goes back to your upbringing, you know. If we were both brought up in high income families,
We'd be way bigger than we are right now.
no, we'd be completely different people.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, because that sort of society that develops those sort of people, it brings out a certain attitude
different
in
culture.
people, which is why I think artists generally are always so
Paul?
tortured. You know,
Yeah.
artists are always these drug addicts and these drunks and these miserable, depressed people because it's that like longing and that need for something
bigger than themselves.
something that makes you feel bigger than yourself. Whereas when you're handed everything to you with from the start, it's just like
It's a very different culture. And I think that also kind of relates back to what we were talking about how music and the internet and, algorithms and stuff are kind of bringing more inclusivity in that people don't have to have a label. They don't have to have daddy's money to necessarily get big. I mean, like, it's really changing, I think, the dynamic of music in the mainstream because, like, these people that might be nobodies 10 years ago are able to actually have a platform and be heard and seen.
Especially, like, people in really tight-knit communities, like trans people and people that are in these really unfortunate situations where society doesn't necessarily recognize them as even citizens, you know. But we live in such a society now that I gotta stop saying it. But yeah, we live in such a society now where everyone is acceptable to
An extent. Yeah.
And we
There's
still
still
got a
work on
lot
it.
of work to do.
But I think definitely a lot of it is also, I mean, rest in peace, Sophie. But I think a big part of Sophie was that she was this trans woman coming up in this, hyper pop experimental sound that a lot of people, even if they didn't particularly usually listen to that kind of music, they saw themselves in an artist. And so
totally.
they kind of project all this, like, these emotions of, if they can make it, I can make it. If they can be accepted, if they can make a name for themselves, then, like, I think that's really inspiring to a lot of people. And I think that's really changed music as well. I think there's a lot of artists. I mean, Lady Gaga, Charlie XCX, Madonna, they're all, for the most part, as far as I'm aware, like, straight white women.
Yeah.
But because their fan bases are built off these oppressed LGBTQ plus communities that are recognizing that they not only see them, even if they can't directly relate to their experiences, that they are giving them some sort of a platform. I mean, Lady Gaga was so polarizing when she first came out because
completely from the start too.
Yeah, because
it's not like she
so
started
wild.
off as this, hot bitch that was
super marketable.
Super marketable. No way was she marketable.
But I think definitely, like, a lot of these artists that have grown big, like Charlie XCX and such, have been propelled to their status because of their fans and the people that are listening to them and the representation that these people who don't necessarily, or at least back then especially, weren't getting that recognition in mainstream media. That was like a big deal for a lot of people. I mean, even with Lizzo, being like a body positive role model for people as a big black proud woman, really kind of giving voices to people that didn't necessarily have voices.
Completely.
I mean, Lizzo was also polarizing because while she had such this big fan base where people were like, we love you, we see you, we support you, we see ourselves in you, there was still misogyny and racism and fat phobia
and it was
attacking.
It was thrown upon her, and that's just, it's such a shame because when artists like that come out with these important messages, they're just, the industry shuts them down and fuck the industry right off.
I was watching an interview with Lizzo actually, and she does have quite a few good songs. But I think something also really refreshing as an artist and as you're trying to grow and come into yourself is seeing how many artists that do make it big, they were just about to quit. They were, Lizzo in this interview was talking about how for like 9 years she was grinding, hustling, living in like couch surfing or something in shitty New York apartments, trying to make music, which you don't really see that much. It's not like her marketing thing, but when you realize that these artists that have gone through not only like social, rejection and prejudices, that they're also having to also struggle to be an artist and to make music, and coming to a point where they're like, maybe this isn't the industry for me. But the fact that Lizzo, I think in the interview, she had kind of gotten to the end of her tether, and when she wrote, God, what was the name of that big song? Turns out I'm 100% that bitch.
Yeah.
That song, she was just working with one of her friends that was a producer, and she had just gone through like a shitty breakup or something. And she was feeling miserable, and her friend was like, why don't you just like switch your mindset and just everything that you don't feel right now, and just like project that into a song and like give that mindset energy throughout a song. And I think that was also really powerful for a lot of people.
Yeah, what do they call it? Hot bitch energy?
Hot girl energy.
Hot girl energy.
Megan Thee Stallion.
Yeah, totally, you know? And it's that sort of just endurance through the bullshit that really shines through to the people. And that's what's so important, you know? There's a lot of artists I don't respect because of that.
They don't really have too much substance.
They don't have a lot of substance, and they're selling themselves, which is okay. You've got to sell yourself to a certain extent, but there's no substance behind it. There's no, I'm going to do this because I have to for this reason. It's, I'm going to do this because I want to make money.
Yeah, definitely.
I want to do this because I want to sell records, because I want a bigger house. And that's just, at the end of the day, there's nothing behind that, you know? And that's why I think a lot of people turn their nose at electronic music and pop music, because that stigma has grown for so long. Since
pop music?
Yeah, since the year 2000, I swear. It's been like that. Pop music has just been pushed down. But now with these artists that are coming up with their inclusivity, you know, like Charlie XCX, you know, she
I mean, yeah, like when Charlie XCX first started out, I mean, she was writing hits left, right, and center for other big artists.
Exactly.
I mean, what was what's that song I hate? Like, is it Camila Cabello that was massive?
Yeah. I
she
know
wrote that song.
Is that right?
Yeah, and
is that Doja Cat?
No, but also, what was it? I got an ad on YouTube the other day for like KFC, and they're still using the "I don't
That's
care,
right.
I love it" with Iconica Pop.
And I respect Charlie XCX, but fuck, I hate that song. I really hate that fucking song.
But I think the main thing was that she was kind of at this point where she was probably like, I'm selling out. Like, she's a good hit writer, regardless of if you like the big hits she's got. And I think she kind of reinvented herself with like the Vroom Vroom EP, where she just kind of steered clear from pop and went into like this hyper experimental pop stage.
Yeah, when I started hearing her new stuff, after hearing like her feature on Iggy Azalea's song,
why do we keep talking about
hearing
Iggy?
that KFC song, I was like, what? You people, like all these alternative people that I know, they're like, yeah, Charlie XCX, she's great. I'm like, what are you talking about? No, she's not. She sucks.
No, once you listen
and then
to
I listened to it. I was like,
stuff.
damn, she's actually making music now that she wants to make, you know. And so I respect that she sort of came in. She did what she had to do to get to the point of where she had to, and then she said, "Fuck you, I'm gonna do what I want."
What about Carly Rae Jepsen when Call Me Maybe came out? Everyone, that song grew because it was so catchy but annoying, and everyone hated it. And then a year or two later, she drops Emotion, which is now in music heads and pop heads specifically one of the greatest pop albums.
The greatest pop album
2010s.
of the 2010s. That's right. Yeah. I think
and
Rolling Stone said that as well.
Yeah. And so I think there is there is some merit in kind of selling yourself on a really shitty, like, run-of-the-mill pop song, but then actually getting yourself a platform where you can expand and actually show, you know, your
Did you guys
emotion.
sort of feel that stigma in Australian music of, you mentioned before, it being like a very indie rock space, but you guys were doing it independently but doing pop music? That's kind of often seen as the label music or the high production music. Did you guys sort of struggle with that coming up, or was that a factor?
I think so. I think we still struggle with that. Is that the music that we're making, well, it could be coming from me because I'm the producer, but the production value of electronic music is just, it's got to be 100%, or people aren't going to pay attention. And so that's
so much.
That's why I think it's so important to grasp a fan base locally, and I mean locally within Australia, to really grab you, and I think that's important. But
that's a bit of a pressure, like to live up to.
Oh yeah, especially considering we're a band who is very much DIY. Like all of the music is written by both of us, and
no one else.
And then we just get Kojo to mix it. Shout out Kojo. But I think ultimately Australia is different because Australia has a bit of a hierarchy. It rhymes with Ripple Ray. And unfortunately, if you can't make it there, then you're going to have to really work your ass off touring, and you've got to spend a lot of money promoting. But if you can make it,
well, I mean, what about Sticky Fingers? Sticky Fingers came up through the ranks through Triple J and through Triple J listeners and became like this staple indie rock kind of band. And then Triple J turned their heads. You know, what was it? They had like hit songs in the top 100 for years.
Oh, years.
And then once all these allegations and stuff came out, Triple J cancelled them, and rightfully so.
Oh, of course.
But just the fact that Triple J had so much power, there weren't really many other music publications coming out and talking about it, that Triple J has such a platform that they can just defund these artists because they have such a monopoly over the industry, which is not necessarily a bad thing because they do
they do wonderful things. They fund festivals, and they most of the successful bands out of Australia right now is because Triple J have given them an opportunity, and that's a great thing. That's a great thing. But if you look at America and Europe, there's 50 Triple Js.
Yeah.
And there's so many,
I think also because in like Europe and America and stuff like that, there's a bigger population. Their states and countries are separate entities that there's more homegrown. But I think also like it's hard to compare Australia to other places because it's completely different culture. And I feel like in like for America, for example, there's different states that are known for different things. Like Tennessee for country music.
And Seattle for like grunge and rock,
Yeah, things like that. So I think
there's more room for genres.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Like the
within.
South is country music. I mean, that vaguely,
I mean, even the South in black communities are the source for a lot of like root rap music. Which also I think
it's because each state within the US is so heavily cultured. They all have their own communities, these massive communities. Whereas in Australia, it's like there's 3 genres of music:
rap, pop,
and indie rock. And then there's EDM, which is like, we'll play EDM, but only after 11 p.m.
Yeah. EDM's funny. I feel like EDM, in my mind at least, is just fully, even though it's literally just electronic dance music, is just purely Skrillex and dubstep to a lot
Well,
of people.
yeah, and
because
that's-
that was what the rise is.
And that's a lot of, I think that's a lot of the opinions of a lot of people, which is unfortunate because, I mean, EDM itself, that acronym, is actually used now for a subgenre of electronic music, which is, I think it's mostly like club music. But
it's kind of more a blanket genre.
it's more a
than
blanket genre,
anything.
yeah. So it's hard. It's hard to sort of distinguish. Like for us, example, our new music, like Fool For Ya. Let's go off that. I mean, what the fuck is that?
I don't know how.
Is that pop music? Is it house music? Is it electro pop?
I feel like Fall For You was kind of fun to write because it was different. I think
Yeah.
in our EP, it was very much like really early roots of being inspired by 80s synth pop. And then once we kind of moved from that, we experimented. And I think without sounding egotistical, we have our own little genre that I don't really know who we sound like. I don't really know where we fit in.
Yeah, and I agree with you there because that bothers me because I'm constantly on this search for bands that sound like the music we've made and the music I'm making now. Like I'm trying to find something that sounds similar, and it grabs areas of trance, it grabs areas of house, it grabs areas of pop music, classic 90s pop music especially. And it's just, I think that comes from the fact that 5 years ago, if you told me the music I was making now, I would say you're a fucking liar, because it was just.
You were such a metalhead.
No, I was like Tame Impala was my thing. Like it was just indie rock.
I don't know if you
complete.
know this, but there's this really cool song by Tame Impala. You might know it.
I don't. Yeah, probably. I know it all. But you know, I was just. It's so funny looking back at how quick the process was, where I got absolutely obsessed with electronic music. It was just so quick. Like there was maybe 8 months before I messaged you saying, "Hey, do you want to join this band I'm making?" Where I was in a band with Josh and Rowan, and we were like a shoegaze band, and I was like, that's all I want to do. I don't want to. I didn't know anything about electronic music. I didn't know anything about MIDI or DAWs or anything. And then just I don't know what it was. It was listening to Part Time. I discovered Part Time, who for those who don't know, he's this guy out of LA.
Sexual allegations.
Yeah, he's a terrible person. Don't listen to his music. He ended up being a really awful person.
Right.
Which is so terribly upsetting because
He was in your number one artist.
he was
for, like,
my number
3
one
years in a
artist for
row.
years. He inspired me more than anyone else. And it makes me sick that ended up coming true. But I discovered him and he makes like what do you call it? It's like 80s music, but it's like new
indie new wave.
Modern contemporary 80s music.
Do we sound fucking pretentious right now?
Oh, definitely. But you know, it just was such a quick process, and then all of a sudden I was just like, yep, this is what I want to do.
Fuck you guys.
Fuck you guys. I want to make electronic music, and I bought myself a little MIDI keyboard, and then that was it, you know?
I think also one of the reasons why we feel like we don't really fit into a genre is because I think, especially in the early days of Neko, I was like, I'm not writing like a pop song. I'm not repeating one sentence 5 times. Like I was so against it.
No,
like
totally,
I remember writing
totally.
love sounds.
I was the same.
And I was like, I could make a really simple, catchy chorus, but I'm not fucking gonna because I'm too edgy for that.
Because
I'm not
fuck
gonna
that.
sell
We
out.
don't want to do that.
And I think also like you were coming from this 80s synth pop background, and I mean I also did enjoy a lot of shoegaze and stuff, but I think also me being like really mainstream pop and then a lot of rap, we were coming from 2 separate different worlds, so we kind of have
totally.
our own influences that blend into our music, which is why I feel like it's kind of hard to because I remember when we released like the Love Capital EP like 2 years ago, I didn't really feel like I had that much rap influence coming through, but I remember there were a few
No, yeah.
reviews, people saying, comparing me to like Young Lean and saying that they could see like Gwen Stefani influence, Lily Allen influence, and I was like, damn, this person's really just going through my Spotify history.
Yeah, it was a bit. Now looking back, like some of your vocals were a bit hip hop, you know, like the way you sort of bounced off the bass, especially.
Yeah, and I think definitely that's kind of where the mix of genres kind of is also good in a way, because
Oh, totally.
I mean,
and I'm
it's
glad.
unique
I'm
to
glad of that.
our
And I
backgrounds.
think the search for that sound I'm looking for is going to keep going. And it's a hard thing to deal with, but I'm happy that it is. It makes writing songs pretty hard, because I'm one of those guys that takes influence off the people I love, the artists I love, and
So
I
you
mean,
plagiarize?
oh, every great, what's that saying?
There's nothing new.
Every
is
good
there?
artist writes their own songs. Every great artist copies someone else's and doesn't get caught. And I mean, I write all my own songs, trust me, but I get so much influence off the people I love, and so having to find something to really grab me that that I can go off over the last year and a half has been so difficult, because I go back to our music, I'm like, what the fuck is this? What are we doing here? But I think that's why we got a great fan base, because we are unique and we are isolated with our sound.
Yeah. Well, we've come kind of full circle there, back to 2020.
Oh yeah.
You guys got a few shows coming up,
Yeah, definitely.
and tell us about those. So when can we see the first return shows?
25th of this month. Playing Little Headline.
Yeah, I think it's 2 weeks away.
Yeah, shit. Little Headline gig at
Sideway.
Sideway.
Yeah, we
cool
got,
little venue.
We got Zuko, who are great.
So good. Can we play Zuko's song?
Zuko, yeah. What's that bad track they released? Oh, it's so good. And then we got Liv Lai as well. She's incredible. She's been pumping out music for so long. She's just keep going. Nothing's stopping her.
I'm gonna get that Zuko song up so we can play it. Panic and Joy. Can you play this song?
And Joy. Oh yeah.
Yeah, shout out to Zuko, man. And that's like, that goes back to Canberra electronic music. Like, I feel like I could name off one hand the amount of original electronic pop bands in Canberra, and they're all so fucking good. And that's why I want to grab everyone and put us all in a big room, little room, and just say, this is what we're gonna do, and this is how we're gonna do it.
Bossy.
Well, I feel like I gotta be, you know. I learned that from you, though.
Thanks.
That's your friend.
Ooh. So good, you gotta play it twice. Yeah, I remember
So
when
these guys are playing with you.
Yeah.
They're playing with us. I
Are
can't.
these guys from Canberra?
Yeah, totally. They've been around for ages. They were in another band. Oh well,
Rashan was originally.
Rasham's in another band.
Mondecrine.
Mondecrine, yeah. Oh my god. I remember I went to this house show. It was probably 2 years ago, maybe a year and a half ago.
I remember you coming, you saw me like the next day and you were like, you gotta fucking listen to these cunts, like.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I was so drunk and I was so high, and then I didn't know who they were, and they ended the night. I was like, who's this band? And this is like just after we released the EP. I listened to them and I was just fucking blown away. I was like, what? I didn't know this band existed in Canberra.
Yeah.
I didn't even think there was electronic bands in Canberra. And then these guys came out and played some of the best music I've ever heard. It was incredible.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of artists that don't get enough credit, like especially within Canberra. Like there's so many artists that even if they don't necessarily have the platform they deserve, they're still creating like good, authentic music. Like there's so many. I don't want to name them off and then miss people and feel bad. Like Slowdale, for example.
Oh, Slowdale. Oh, watching Slowdale live, I feel like I'm the people were when they watched Led Zeppelin live for the first time in the 60s. I'm just sitting there and it's just so captivating and so good. And, you know, I couldn't tell you enough about that band, how good they are.
I think there definitely needs to be more investment in the Canberra music community. I mean, ACT Music and stuff are doing a lot.
They're doing a great job, but, I mean, there's limited resources, you know.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Melbourne is kind of like seen as the LA of Australia.
Yeah, everyone moves to Melbourne, which is a shame.
Because I think...
Stay here, you know.
Stay here, you know, build it for yourself. But, I mean, who's to say we probably won't move to Melbourne at some
if we
point.
blow up in the next 6 months and they're like, well, you got to move to Melbourne.
Sorry, Gary and Jan, we're moving out.
Fuck Melbourne, straight to LA.
Not for a year or two with COVID.
Yeah.
I wish.
I
But,
don't know. I would love to move to LA, though. I got these romantic ideas in my head.
You probably get there and there's fucking rats on the subway and you're like, this is shit.
Bro, you move to LA and you're 1 in a million, you know. Whereas
yeah,
in
exactly.
in Canberra, where we got a bit of substance. Yeah.
Because there's not a lot, you know. There's more opportunities, I think, in Canberra because you're not competing with so many other artists.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the artists we play with, for example, when they tour, we don't necessarily sound like them. I mean, Seeka, for example. Like when we played with Seeka and Genesis Owusu, we don't sound like either of those. But because we're this big,
because we're one of the few, you know, and that's a great thing, you know.
You're doing something unique and different.
Exactly, yeah.
But guys, it's been great chatting to you tonight. Thank you for popping in.
No problem. Thank you very much for having us.
No problem. Take care and look forward to seeing these shows.